So I'm starting section 2, which is the Docker Proficiency. So very quickly, I'll go to my technical documentation, and as usual, my disclaimer still persists. Please click on the image to view the content very clearly, and please know that the next project is embedded at the bottom of the current project of this previous project, right? So let's go to bullet point number 1. So bullet number 1 says I should pull a Docker image that contains Apache and the latest version of PHP in it. So what I did was, because this is supposed to serve as my web server image, so before I did that, I had to create a private network so that the web server image and the database server can communicate with each other. So I created that private network, which I called Naxom network. So recall that I had stated that at the time of making this video, I had successfully carried out this project. So I'm just making a reiteration on the steps and processes that I did. So this was the exact command that I did. So when I ran that, and it asked for my password, and once that, it created a private network, and that was the network ID there. So the next thing, I progressed on to pulling my PHP, my web servers that contains the latest version of PHP and Apache as instructed. So this was where I did that. Network, yes. So this is what I did, the exact command that I did, and it was completed. As you can see, status says downloaded new image for Apache, and this was the hash value, which I also verified. So yes, so to confirm that my web server images were pulled, which contain PHP and Apache latest versions, I would be showing the current version by Docker, using the command docker image pipe grep PHP to unveil this. So yes, so you can see that it contains, this is what I use, this was what I pulled, and it contains PHP and Apache latest versions. Then afterwards, I went on to create 2 directories, 2 folders that was going to hold storage persistently. So both for the web files and for my database, because my database is going to store the information from the web server. So I created the web files, which I called Gracious. This was the command I used. And then I created a database folder, which I called my DB data. And this was Gracious web files, right? And then thereafter, I went on to I gave them writable permissions by changing mode to 777. So this is the output of what I did. This is the output. Yes, as you can see, this is the output. So the next bullet point says pull a Docker image with latest MySQL or MariaDB on it. So now this is the database that is going to hold the web server. So this will be our database server image exactly. So now next, run the database server image with published port of 3306 with its volume bind to a writable directory. So now recall that I've already made my directories writable, right? Yes. So the database will be pulled and created. So this is what I did. I made sure that the database was pulled and created first, because this is where the web server will connect to, right? So this was the command prompt that I used to create it, and I called my database container. This was what I called it, and then the password was what this is the port. The port was specifically mentioned here, 3306, and the environmental variables that I used, the password, and then the database username. And then of course the instruction said latest MySQL MariaDB. So this is what I downloaded, the latest version. So when I ran that script, this was the output, and as you can see here, it says downloaded new image for MariaDB latest. So this was duly downloaded, and of course it came with the check a hash value. So to confirm that my MariaDB was installed, I'm going to run docker images type grep MariaDB. So this is it. As you can see here, the latest version is here. I would also go on to review my SQL as well. My SQL, and as you can see, it's the latest version, right? Yes. So going on to bullet points, the next bullet point, it said run the web server image with published ports of 48, port 80 and 43, and bind its value and bind it to the writable directory. So recall in the previous step, I already created a directory and then I made it writable by changing mode to 777, right? And now I am going to bind it to a port. I'm going to publish it to a port 80 and 43. So this was the script that I ran here. This was the script, yes. So this is it, and I named my web server web container. This is what I called it, and the private network earlier that I banded the both of them, the web server and then the database server as well, as you can see here, right? So going on, I binded the port number to port 8080 and 4043, which was the instruction here. Then the web server, I had to call the web server that I already pulled. So when I ran this command, this was the output, as you can see here. So I pulled it and it was successfully pulled. As you can see, it said downloaded new image for PHP 8.2. So this is what I did here. So going on to confirm the images that was pulled, to confirm all images that was pulled, so I'm going to run docker images. So these are the images that I pulled and was running. So finally, then I pulled a docker image with latest MySQL on it. This is where our database, of course, yes, I already did that. I pulled the MariaDB latest in the previous command earlier. I already pulled that here, right? So this was the configuration script I put inside the directory that I had created earlier. Yes, the directory file there, as you can see on this, labeled pink, in labeled green. Sorry, I think I'm colorblind today, so this is green. Yeah. So moving on. Yes, I already stated this. I said I already achieved this one step earlier. When I ran it again, the image showed up to date. So this is it. It showed up to date. Image is up to date, as you can see here. Image is up to date. Then I configured the containers network so they will be on one network. So recall that I had already created a private network between to privately connect the both of them, the web server data and the database server as well. So this was the script that I did. So once I did that, I restarted the web container, and I also did the same thing I restarted it. So this is the command prompt for the web container. This is the command prompt for this. Having a network glitch a bit. Exactly. So this is the command, as you can see, sudo docker executes the web container docker file. Remember, the web container is holding the PHP files, right? So this is where I called it, and then I confirmed that my SQL was running here. So it's where I confirmed that my SQL was running, and it indicated my SQL, as you can see in the red. My network is lagging today. Is it because it's Christmas? So then I went on to share other, these are other screenshots that I attached in the course of my job. Went on to share it. So finally, then I confirmed that the network was connected to both of them. So you can see that the containers are running, database container and then the web container are both running in the Naxum server, which was the private network that I created. And then finally, I ran Docker PS. As you can see, and it showed that my web containers and my database containers are up. So this concludes section number 2 of Docker Proficiency. Thank you.